welcome. Apparently, shit is happening when it shouldn't be. I'm actually live, which is annoying. Okay, be with you in half a second. Thank you, Stephen and Max, for letting me know. At least it was a pretty thing. Why did I bring my wallet down? Okay. Here we go. Okay, fine. Greetings, salutations, welcome to 18 minutes into a live stream that should not be here. My audio is on, I'm talking to you, that's all good. Hi Robert R. Yes, I was doing okay. So, somehow, yeah, okay. So the stream was scheduled for 8 o'clock, which is correct and right and all of that. But if you leave the ATEM Mini Pro, I did a live stream this afternoon playing around with relicking this, well, starting the relicking process. Gosh, that looks pretty cool. It's just the beginning, but anyway, I did that live stream and then left to have dinner and spend some time with families and all that jazz, and did not click off on that. It just automatically started to stream at some point. And I am so sorry, FFF, I just blew your ears out. I honestly don't understand. I've got the Sennheiser EWG4 microphone system here. And it is entirely unlike any other mic system I've ever had, in that when the receiver is on, but the microphone itself is not sending, it sends noise into the system, which I normally remember, but I'm also not normally, well, talking to people when I'm supposed to be chilling out for a little bit before talking to people. Anyway, yeah, other microphones, they're just dead. It surprises me. Okay, anyway, look, this is it. Let's see what's happening. Greetings, greetings, greetings. E.R. Webster, JS Trucking, Paul Cook, Ian M. Tom Woods, how you doing? Brent Johnson. So the really annoying thing is that this stream is still only scheduled for 8 o'clock. Somehow the ATEM Mini Pro system decided, let's just start and get going, whether Ben's even there or not. We're just lucky that that camera still had power. All of the other cameras were actually powered off. So, yeah. What the hell? What the hey? Okay. All right, let's do the proper thing. We got some people watching, and we're all there. I'm wondering if I should end this. No. Okay. Wonder if I can pin a comment. So. Can never spell beginning. All right. And if I pin that message to the top, everybody should see that. Fantastic. Okay. Come on then. Come on then. All right. Welcome to Crimson Guitars. Welcome to my home studio. Welcome to Luthiers Question Time, number 86. This is a live stream. It is a Q&A. It is where you guys ask me questions about guitar building, about life, about business, about technical issues that run potentially embarrassing automatic live streams. About to sneeze. Okay. There we go. Professionalism at its finest. I'm not going to actually sneeze in your ears. Okay, so Jimmy Penrose says that sounds like a receiver defect. So the receiver itself is actually faulty. No, that might be. JS Trucking says, why would you relic a flamed back? I would have left that alone and only relic the front. It's not flamed. What you think are of flames are the scratches that I've actually put into it. Hold on, let me get a different camera shot. So all of that was manually created this afternoon, all of these scratches and things. Now, you can debate whether relicking is a good thing or a bad thing till the cows come home. I am home. But yeah, it is undeniably something that the public want, and maybe not everybody, but it's a finish option. And I want to explore this particular type of finish option because people ask us for it regularly. If Fender and Gibson are doing a lot of this sort of thing, if Fender and Gibson are creating aged and relict finishes as standard, then frankly everybody else should follow suit because they know the market. They have most of it. Let's put that on silent. Okay, note for the future, Ben. This is from Grover. Your wallet is in the workshop. I'll put that actually on the computer so that I don't forget that. Okay, so, and Crever also says, yes, that Sennheiser noise thing is weird. I literally had this on a loudspeaker system in front of about 500 people. The solution is to increase the squelch. That gets the threshold when the audio output gets cut off when the antenna signal. You know when somebody's telling you something very important that you know you should listen to and understand, but your brain just goes in the same way as the white noise. Please do this after the stream, not now. I fear that that warning should have been at the beginning of the sentence. I'm going to screenshot that. Thank you, Crever. I'm going to have a look at that later and decode what squelch is. Okay, fine. Anyway, look, it is what it is. We're here. This is a live stream. This is where I want to answer your questions about guitar building and stuff. Most people are only expecting us to go live at 8, so, or came in, started watching, realized it was an empty studio. I mean, a rather attractive empty studio, I must say, but an empty studio nonetheless. So we will see what happens. Super chats, I will, let me pause that and click on that. Viewer activity. So when I have super chats come through, I will answer that question. That's the point of this. I see those questions constantly. The rest of the chat, as the place fills up, will go through relatively fast. So there we go. Tahoe Mike says, now that it's dried, the stained bit needs to lighten up just a little bit. There's also some red bits in there that looking at I don't particularly like. So yeah, I'm going to scrape back a little bit more and go again. I think I shouldn't have hit it with the that particular colour. But anyway, SM Myers says, hey Ben, what are the plans for that Cowrie wood? 2 solid bodies and some drop tops from the large split section. The large section is literally, I could probably make 20 30 guitars out of that. Solid body guitars, including necks. I could make many acoustics. No, we have, I can't really say, but it's going to be epic. I have got one project already guaranteed for it. The wood does not belong to us. The wood has been sent to me in order to build at least one guitar, probably two, maybe even three for a client, and the beneficiary. Two of these things are actually gifts. The beneficiary of the first guitar, well, he doesn't know it's coming. He's a particularly interesting chap, playing with an interesting band and doing fun things. So yeah, that's going to be happening soon. Yes. Okay. E.R. Webster, here's a question. It says, fill for an inlay. Super glue okay, or should I use epoxy? The inlay has a painted back, so the majority of the volume will be clear. If you're trying to create the clear fill, then epoxy is what you need. Super glue does not build up nice and clear. It ends up cloudy over time. It does not cure fast enough. You have to put multiple thin layers, otherwise each layer doesn't cure and you end up with a soft sort of mass. It's really not ideal. I have some tea somewhere. Aha! I was chilling out, looking at my watch, going, yep, quarter past 7. I don't have the stream for another 45 minutes. It's all good. We're all set up, and then got some messages. Okay, anyway. Robert R says, but the neck is still bright and shiny. The front is still bright and shiny. Everything's still bright and shiny except for the back, which is the only bit that I've done so far, and I'm by no means finished on this either. This is going to be a semi-long-term project. Paul Cook says somebody rage quit earlier. It is really interesting. Essentially what happens was I ended the stream within the YouTube app, and then and didn't actually click the off button on the ATEM Mini Pro, which is what I should have done. Normally that doesn't make any difference. It obviously decided to reset itself. Okay. Earl D says, anyone in chat own a baby Taylor? I'm thinking of buying one tomorrow. I don't, but I have heard that they are incredible instruments. I got very excited while I was on holiday with the family last week. I popped into an antiques shop. There was a baby Taylor case. Sadly, it didn't have the guitar in it. Antique shop, junk shop, I don't know. There was all sorts of stuff in that particular one. Okay. FFF says, I love you, Ben, all is forgiven. I'm sorry for your ears. Fluid Focus says, hey Ben, hey Fluid Focus, how you doing? Okay. Tahoe Mike, the still life has 16 likes. Carol. Okay. There we go. All right. No questions, no queries, no comments. So stream over. Okay. What do we do? Okay. Gonorrhea says, hey Ben, have you ever heard of or considered finishing the inside of an acoustic guitar in order to prevent cracking, particularly with woods like rosewood? Okay, so yes, it is an option. It's something that some people do and other people don't. Essentially what you've got is, specifically on an acoustic guitar, the outside generally has a fairly good finish on it, i.e. something that water and moisture in the air is not going to penetrate very easily. Some finishes are more porous than others, of course, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. The issue is that you've got a load of finish on one side, and then you've got wood on the inside of the guitar with a great big sound hole, and a musician sweating away and playing, and, you know, humidity and moisture and all that jazz. So there is an uneven transfer of moisture in and out of the wood. Now, that sounds like a bad thing. That's how you would create, that's how you get warping, for example. If you've got a piece of wood that you're drying and it's flat on a piece of on another piece of wood, so there's, you know, that side is protected and everywhere else is in a relatively moist environment, it's going to warp and change. With an acoustic guitar, everything is very thin and there's not actually that much moisture to take out or add. My personal opinion is that you do not need to finish the inside of a guitar. In fact, oftentimes it's a good idea, depending on where you live, to leave it unfinished so that you can humidify the guitar. Thin wood like that dries out too fast in the wrong environments and you end up with more cracking. And if you've got a finish inside there that's stopping moisture getting into the wood to feed it, then you're just going to end up with even more of an issue in a dry environment. I do think that adding the same amount of finish on the inside as well as the outside would end up causing a degradation in sound, definitely a reduction in volume. You would have to build it knowing that you're going to have to make the guitar itself louder in the construction phases in order to counteract the effect of the finish, which is possible, just not necessary, in my opinion. So there we go. All right, JS Trucking and Guitars, who's been a member of this channel for 5 months now, says, how would you make the conveyor belt on a DIY sander thicknesser? 2 rollers and a belt, or rollers only? I've never really thought about how I would do that. Yeah, I would. I would have the flat table. I would have 2 rollers on the outside with a belt going in between it that then pulls. Lots of rollers involved. If you've got multiple rollers next to each other and one of those is 0.5 millimeter or even 1/4 millimeter higher, you're going to end up with waves in what you're doing. You want the entire top surface to be flat, in my opinion. I know that the most important bit is the bit where the sanding drum is. That's the most important bit, so you could get away with not. But yeah, I would do it that way. Now you could use an old sanding belt and modify that. Hell, you could just use an old sanding belt. I think the jet sander thicknessers do exactly that. Okay, now I need to open the door because it's getting really hot in here, and looks like I'm in for a long evening. All right, we've got a question here from Sporadic Amnesic, starting off the super chats. Thank you very much. It says, earlier you showed your PRS and didn't really like it. Anything about it in particular that didn't gel with you? I'm like that with Fenders. Okay, so this is a Custom 24 that I bought about 6 months ago, and it's an amazing guitar. I'm seriously considering, well, I am going to put this up as a raffle competition prize I'm going to do a video dissecting the guitar, looking at the pickups, looking at everything inside it, see what the frets are doing, and just make sure that that's all sorted. The setup is, for me, I could do with a slightly lower action, I suppose. And then I'm just going to get rid of it, and one of you fantastic people will win it, and I will then use that money to buy something else. Kind of want a relic of PRS, and that was the original plan for this. Now, what I personally don't like about this, it's the 24 frets. There's something about where this sits for me. It's too far up. It's too long. It just doesn't work for me. I love the look. I love black guitars. I love how you've got the flame maple faux binding going on. I love the neck even. It's a very, very, very comfortable guitar. It just doesn't work for me. On top of that, it's got those horrific locking tuners, and they really are. I don't like them. So there we go. That's what it is. It's a custom 24, so I want to get a custom 22, which I think is going to be more my style. But yeah, I don't know. I might actually just not like PRS instruments. And this is the thing. Now, for the longest time, I've been a fanboy of Paul and what he's done and what his company has become, and all of that was based on limited exposure to the actual guitars. I've never owned one. I've never really sat down and just for hours and hours and hours played one until this guitar. And that is why I am now doing the whole new series of videos on the channel, buying loads of random instruments and playing with them and getting to know them, and then moving them on so I can get something else and something different. And I'm actually experiencing real Les Pauls. I bought my first ever actual real Stratocaster the other day and hated it. So yeah, it's interesting and fun. I'm so excited about guitars right now. It's so cool. Okay, JS Trucking Guitar says, lol, I already made a belt for it using 5 3-inch wide strips of 120 grit. It's 47 inches long. Well, there we go. So that's the sort of thing, yeah, that's the sort of thing that I would do, basically. It's one of those tools that really are pretty much essential to life as a luthier, in my opinion. Yeah, a white belt sander. It's one of those things. Paul Needs says, with you 100% on 24 fret PRS, the 22 is much more natural. For me, the letdowns were always the American pickup sound. Well, that's the thing. I like the way it sounds for the most part. I really do. It's just... I have spent more time with a 22.5-inch scale length Music Master 2 in my hands than any other guitar, apart from this sort of Telecaster that I built, must be 5 years ago now. I lent this guitar to a company that we were working with for a 3-day machinery show, and I got it back 2 or 3 weeks ago. I ended up having to actually threaten to send an invoice for a custom guitar just to get my personal guitar back. They had it hung on their wall. Just... And no, it wasn't Triton. Triton are cool. Triton are, yeah, Triton are cool. So anyway, yeah, that guitar came with me on a holiday And other than that, I've been playing this short scale length, tiny student guitar. I love it. I thought I'd love that, and I just don't. So there we go. Okay, questions. Keep the questions coming. Joe Brown says, Bigsby's on a Les Paul, yay or nay? I used to think Bigsby's on anything were a nay, a big nay. But actually, you can't get more vintage correct than a Bigsby on a Les Paul. They, you know, really, they're fantastic. So yeah, maybe that's something to do at some point. So I've got this Les Paul that I'm messing around with at the moment, and it had this patch here. I'm creating the rest of the wear pattern, and maybe at some point I will actually fit a Bigsby onto a Les Paul, and we can see what happens. But anyway. Okay, that's gone. JS Trucking and Guitar says, I'm going to film building the sander and continue my GGBO after I finish building a proper workbench. My current bench is just as wobbly as yours. I do need to sort that out. Okay, 9 minutes until the actual live stream properly starts. So there we go. Anthony K says, I really liked the guitar dissection videos, Ben. So much to learn from studying the design decisions of others. I agree. I absolutely agree. For example, I'm losing the string in the fret nibs on this Gibson at the moment. So yeah, that sucks. Anyhow. Okay, Creever says, due to putting the neck in and out of the neck pocket of my guitar kit, the neck is a little loose now. Any tips on what to do? Maybe apply a bit of water on the inside. That could work, although that might dry again over time. It depends if you're gluing the neck in or it's going to be a bolt-on. And it also depends on how loose is loose. Yeah, you can expand it a little bit with water. That will do a bit. Adding the glue will do exactly the same thing. Wood glue is water-based. That will expand everything a little bit and then pull it all together. So you should be fine. Okay. VCS the Bone Cruncher says, I only do faux binding. Easier, prettier, win. Proper binding gave me endless evenings of worry early on in my build things. Fluid Focus says, anything shorter than a 25-inch scale feels stubby and mandolin-like to me. It's about the tension. It's about, I don't know. It's weird. I just really like that Music Master. Lisa says, I thought it started in 10 minutes. Are we time traveling? Everything went weird tonight. Please forgive me. So there we go. Ooh, that's out of tune. Okay, Joe Brown says, yes, please. I already intended to win that one, so a Bigsby for free is even better. I'm not sure I'll do it on this one. Okay, Jazz Trucking Guitar says, take the nibs off then, lol. Which isn't the plan. There's more than enough meat left on these frets. It is going to need a level crown and polish at some point, but there's more than enough meat, and I don't want to do a refret, and it's absolutely necessary. I will, however, put a dab of super glue in the end of each of those to fill that gap so that the strings stop getting lost in there. Okay. Michael Muehlberg says, hi Ben, I started building guitars this year and I'm on my 4th at the moment with 3 in the oven. I use the facet method you always do, but I end up mostly with a C to D shape, especially on thinner necks. Okay, so what you need to do then is instead of going, basically change where your initial lines are at the area where you're getting a D shape. So bring everything in, and instead of having the D, you'll have your C. The easiest way to do this is to actually measure the width of the fretboard where you're talking about. So say it's your 12th fret, draw a life-size rectangular section of that, draw the shape that you want, C obviously, and then draw on that where you want to make your cuts. And once you've got that, put that in that place, and you've got 2 different things, one for the nut, one for there. And you can make any shape that you want, any shape at all. Okay. Okay, another super chat from JS Trucking and Guitars. I really appreciate your support. He says, what would you use for inlay material? Natural pearled seashell found on the beach or polished crystal? Okay, seashell for sure. Simply because it is much easier to work with. It's hard wearing, pretty, but something that pretty much anybody can work with. Crystal, you need diamond polishing, you need diamond files in order to cut it. A laser cutter would probably do it. How would a laser cut? Probably not, actually, with all of the refraction of light and all that sort of stuff. So no, I would suggest stick with the traditional seashell. Okay. Now, Timing Guitars and Wolford Guitars are saying, what? Why is this started early? Everything went crazy. I should have actually cancelled the earlier one and then come back. But anyway, we're here. Come to the live bit and we'll go from there. Anything more figured than that suits a purist. More a Gibson top should be imperfect and less tight. God, guitar players are finicky nightmares. Ha ha ha. So this is the other one. What's that? That's camera 3. And that's baby in the background just chilling out. She's probably going to do a poop on a live stream now. Of course she is. So this is the other Les Paul that's got an even nicer top. And I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep that. That's had a headstock break. And I think that might end up being, a keeper. Or at least a keeper for now, we'll see. My goal is to have some fairly significant guitars and to build up to earning a sort of a 59 or I'd settle for a 58 burst, you know. Okay, come on then. Okay, Ross Botron 3000 says, hey dude, do high quality guitars tend to have hidden resonant chambers, or are they usually more solid apart from the obvious cutout for electronics? How long is a piece of string? Many guitars now have weight relief chambers. They will call them tone chambers. They will call them anything in order to get you to buy the guitar and to believe that they do it for you, when in reality they know that heavy guitars don't sell as well, more so now than it used to be, but everybody wants a light guitar. And if you're making a traditionally sized, Les Paul, there's a lot of material there. And unfortunately, the wood that we have available to us is it's generally heavier than the wood that used to be commonly available. and that's what we get. So it is what it is. Many guitars have chambers. Many guitars have weight relief. It's there to make the guitar easier to sell, although it does, to a certain extent, depending on other design factors, it does help the acoustic response of the electric guitar. Okay. Second note says, buy a half-decent house for the price of a 1959 Les Paul. Ha ha! You are absolutely correct, but picture this. Seriously? A video on this little-known, ugly, betattooed guitar building YouTube channel. Man goes from shitty 2016 Gibson Les Paul to a 99 to a £160,000 1959 Holy Grail Gibson Les Paul in 15 trades. There would be a cool video. Would that not be a cool video? So yeah, the reality is, if I really, really want to, and I really want to, I'm very tempted to try that. I really am. It's absolutely doable. The justification isn't so that I end up with a 59 Les Paul or a 60s Strat or a Blackguard Teddy or any of these things that I desperately want. It's so that I can have those things in a museum that people can go and see and maybe even touch and feel and experience. I really like the idea of having a guitar museum. And yeah, this might be the start of that. Anyway, I say lots of things and I am fairly flighty, so we'll see how it develops over the next 6 months or so. But the reality is that I can take this guitar, do some stuff to it. I can present it to you people. If you're interested in entering into a raffle competition to win it, I can make my money back and hopefully a little bit more, and then use that to buy something else or something better. And if I do that a few times, I could get to the point where, yeah, I am actually potentially able to purchase significant guitars. So yeah, I mean, it's something interesting. Okay, JS Trucking says, I emailed a picture of my inlay material options to the stream email. I'll see if I can open that up. Big Unit Guitar says, I completely effed up my build. Router depth was not locked, and the body top at the control cavity is only about a ½ millimeter thick. Putting a maple top on it. Now, do I plane the body down 1/4 of an inch for the top, or use a neck pocket shim? I don't mind neck pocket shims. I think that they can be a decorative and interesting addition to it. If you don't like the look of it, and it would have to be, you're never going to match it perfectly, so it has to be something absolutely different to the rest of the guitar, then plane it down if that's an option to you. Yeah, difficult. It's a difficult one. Now, piece of make. Good one. Says, thoughts on Douglas fir for a bass neck with carbon fiber stiffening rods? Bad idea. I think that Douglas fir is pretty much a no-no unless you've got more than just carbon fiber stiffening rods. I think that would have to have a carbon fiber outer shell solidifying the whole thing. It is just too soft. And it's not only just too soft from a strength of the guitar point of view, it would be, it would end up getting dented. Just putting it down on a neck rest that is a little bit old will put a dent in it, for example. So I would not do that. It could be interesting for you to try, but I would not do that. Okay, so JS Tracking's got some shells and some pink agate, which has been stained. Yeah, my only issue with the agate, is how polished crystal. There we go. is how difficult it would be to cut and work. So you'll need diamond files, you'll need a Dremel multi-tool with cut-off discs, etc. to shape the whole thing. It's possible, it's doable. Yeah, it's harder than it really needs to be. Wait, I do that sort of thing all the time, don't I? Go for it. You don't want to breathe that stuff in. Wear a mask, wear a proper mask. Okay. Joseph Hurst, how you doing? Joseph has come in with a question, says, Ben, my acoustic, a Martin, has recently got really jangly sounding in the hot weather. Have you come across this before, and do you think the damage will be long-term? I don't think the damage will be long-term. I think that it has dried out. You need to look into getting a humidifier. Now you can either get a humidifier that goes into the guitar itself, which essentially slowly adds moisture into the instrument, and that goes inside the guitar case, and you keep it away. In weather like this, you don't really want an acoustic guitar to be out on the wall all the time unless you've got a way to control the humidity in the room that it is in. I've literally just realized that these cabinets here on the other side of my workshop, they probably don't actually need to have a collection of shite in them. I could take the shelves out, and that could be used as a, with a little bit of work, as a cupboard that is even more humidity controlled than the rest of the workshop. So I could keep humidifiers or dehumidifiers in there, where in the UK so it's often more wet than it should be, and then have guitars stored in there. So that's the sort of thing that you could do to... You thought I got distracted from your question, didn't you? That's the sort of thing that you can do with your acoustic. Now, as you add the moisture to it, you should go back to the action, the setup and the feel that you had before. Essentially, your strings have dropped a little bit, the action has moved, everything's sort of feeling a little bit but it doesn't need to be permanent. I would suggest, though, that if it gets worse, you run the risk of cracks and actual damage. This is how guitars get, acoustic guitars at least, get cracks and issues. Like this. Carefully. So this here is my 1828. I can never remember whether it's 1828 or 1823. Obviously not up to tension. This guitar is incredible, and I absolutely love it, but you've got cracks and crevices and breaks, and the back is coming off. So I have to take this whole thing apart as a big repair. Ivory strap buttons. There needs some binding repair to do. There's some old shitty repairs there. This is number 654. Panorama Facet, Anos 1828, London. It's actually a not insignificant guitar, and this is definitely one to keep for the permanent collection / museum. I bought this for about £100, not knowing. I knew it was nice. I knew it was old. I didn't realise that it had any value, and 2 years later I actually ended up looking it up, and once it's restored, it's a £5,000 or £6,000 guitar. But the restoration is going to take up rather a lot of time and energy, but it's going to make some very interesting videos. Okay, look at this. Isn't it more fun when I pull guitars out and I've actually got stuff to show you guys? Okay. Now, just making sure I've got all the questions. Yeah, big unit. I'm really sorry about the router depth mistake is something that a lot of us do. It's just one of those things. Lisa says she restored a Panorama a while back. That's they're not particularly common instruments. Yeah, I'd love to see photos of that if you've if that's an option. Okay, Nikki Van Driel says, hi Ben, any idea on shipping times to Belgium for a top and some templates from the website? I ordered at the beginning of the month. I'm curious to see the Redwood top. Frankly, they should be with you. They should be with you by now. Now, my personal experience with shipping times, etc., is somewhat out of date. I haven't paid much attention to it since before lockdowns and COVID and all that jazz, and Brexit. So I'm not entirely sure. I will look into that for you when I'm at headquarters tomorrow morning, though, and see what's happening. Tops are definitely in stock because they're photographed individually, and templates are done generally to order, but within a day of ordering. The laser cutter is by no means anywhere near capacity yet, so you should be, well, you should be there soon, basically. Okay, Lisa says, I would advise against using one of those humidifiers that hangs in the strings. I've had them drip. Okay, not a good idea. Timon says, I keep all of my guitars in cases. That seems to help. So I agree. Second note says, my guitars have all gone completely upside down and inside out during this heat, particularly the ones in the unit. Ah, well, they're built to be adjusted. This is true. Now, I do still have some water, that's good. JS Trucking Guitars is planning on building an acoustic after the GGBO build, a scratch-built bridge. What would you use for the bridge? Bloodwood or leftover Purple Heart? So by Bloodwood you mean Padauk, I think. I would use Padauk. Padauk is closer to Rosewood, which is a traditional bridge material. I think it said blood material. And also looks a little bit better. It ends up going brown, whereas Purple Heart tends to go a sort of strange colour. Now the Bloodwood would also work as your bridge patch underneath the bridge. Okay. Paul Needs says, sympathies to big unit guitars. I took my body blank too thin by trying to use a power planer. Whoa, never again. I bought a drop top for it, but routed the control cavity right through the body blank. Fine now. These are mistakes that you don't make more than 3 or 4 times. I've probably done it a bit more than that, actually. Routers. Tahoe Mike says, how about a guitar library rather than a museum? That way people can come try them rather than just look at them. That is the idea. To a certain extent, yes. Now the problem is with something like a 59 or a Blackguard Telly, you need to have certain insurances in place just because of the value of them, and letting anybody come in and just, you know, have their snotty 14-year-old pick it up. That's a different story. But yes, let me call it a research library. Actually, the name is going to be, it's somewhere for people who really, yeah, you get what I'm talking about. That's the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I really like the idea. Paul Need says the best thing about 1959, that's the year I was born. Paul Needs. But yes, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Okay, ER Webster says bloodwood is a series of separate species from Padauk. I have some, not sure which specific species I have. Okay. So the photo that I saw of the bloodwood being mentioned before looked very much like Padauk to me. I may well be wrong though. Austerum says, I'm doing my first ever scratch build. Carved for the neck using your facets method with the Shinto saw rasp. Was amazed at how easy it was. I was so nervous and put it off for ages, so thanks again, Bun. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your support. And I mentioned it earlier. I spent literal months lying awake at night trying to figure out a way to do plastic binding on a guitar that didn't involve a router, because routers are so damn scary. And in the end, it's actually a relatively easy process until you try and glue the binding in. That's a whole separate thing. And then, yeah, it's exactly the same thing with carving the neck. I used to carve necks and be trepidatious the entire time that I was doing it, because you never really know how it's going to go. That faceting technique, which wasn't originally mine, it's something that's been around for a while, but it's just amazing. Okay. Franz Truter, how are you doing? Says, evening, Ben and everybody. I'm late again. Shame on me. Honestly, we were actually about 45 minutes early because of a glitch on the system, so don't worry. Question, what is the traditional thickness for a guitar neck, including the fretboard? Is 20 millimeters okay? So the fretboard is 6 millimeters. Yes, essentially, 20 millimeters at the nut is around about right. If you've got an Ibanez style wizard neck, you can go down to 18, and that would be what people expect. But it goes from 20 to, a traditional neck goes from around about 20 to 22 or 23 millimeters at the 12th fret or so. Sporadic Amnesics is talking about cavities in guitars for weight relief. Reminded me of you doing that for your daughter's guitar. How is she getting on with that now? She's currently not playing very much. She is spending most of her time painting or making models. I pitched up just now and she's made angel wings out of multiple pieces of paper. I asked her where she bought them and she's like, no, I made them. Like, don't believe you. Anyway, yes, so no, she's not playing much, although the guitar is very lightweight, and yeah, she loves it. She's just decided that playing isn't her thing at the moment. Okay, now. Okay. Queries. Jeff's Guitars asked me if I went to any museums on holiday. I did not. No. Which I regret, because I would very... Cirencester. I was in the area of Cirencester, and I visited an incredibly cool antiques shop there. But they've apparently got an incredible museum. They were the second biggest Roman town in history in the UK or whatever. So I picked up a Bronze Age spearhead because it's cool and I like it. I'm going to take it out of the damn thing. What's that? Luristan. 3rd millennium. It's at least 3,000 years old. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't go to any museums. The spare time I had that wasn't playing around with the kids and swimming and archery and all that sort of stuff, I went to a couple of guitar shops and picked up a few guitars. So yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so JS has just sent me an email of the Bloodwood. Let me have a better look at that. Okay, I take it back. Not Baduk, Bloodwood. In that case, yeah. Well, I would still use that. It does look more traditional than Purple Heart, and I think would sound better. It's not as hard. Okay, question me, people. Kiwi Quarters says, hey B, you were talking about innovation last time. Other than the PRS, I can't think of an innovation that is stuck. What do you think? Okay, well, as a finish option, having relict or aged finishes is now 100% mainstream. The high-end guitar shops that I visit will have many guitars built as new that look old. So that's an innovation that has stuck. We've got the faceted necks and ergonomic necks that are now very commonplace in a particular style of music and for a particular type of player. Those are becoming more and more mainstream, as are headless systems. Strandberg, obviously. But they're being used, ergonomic instruments are being used a lot more than they used to be. Excuse my dogs barking in the background. Fishman Fluence pickups are amazing and becoming, yeah, they are very cool. The Fender, sadly, Acoustic Sonic is a really cool system, and yeah, I think that's something that is building on the technology inside it is similar to what Line 6 were trying to do, but we've moved on a little bit now, so it's even better. And I think that at some point we're going to get something even betterer than even better. It sounded so much better in my head when it came out. But yeah, I mean, so that's just a few things. The Paul Reed Smith wasn't really an innovation. The PRS guitar wasn't really an innovation. It was based on what I'm doing now. It was based on looking at old guitars and saying, well, I like the double cut, the Gibson double cut, but I also want, I like the feel of the Fender to a certain extent. I want a cross between that sort of double cut and a tremolo guitar system, etc., etc. Yeah, Parker Flies are still bought. I really don't like the way the upper bout digs into my chest bone here, but that's just, I suppose I could play a little bit lower. Carbon fiber stiffening rods is an innovation. We didn't have the ability to do that 30 years ago, or at least I don't think anybody was. Now it's standard in every single guitar that we make at Crimson Guitars. Carbon fiber nuts are also pretty good for that matter. Let me know what else you guys can think of. That was just off the top of my head there. Okay. Scott Davies has just sent a £20 super chat, but no question. Scott, if you do have, first of all, thank you very much. But if you do have a question, put it in the standard chat and I will try and keep an eye out for your name. And I'll try and answer that. Paul Cook suggests carbon fiber acoustics. Very good point. Vacuum formed bodies from Spike's Frugal Fixer. That's been done for a while. That good old Ovation, etc. But yes, I mean, there we go. Sweet Tea Guitars is telling me to check my Instagram messages. I've asked you for a favour and sent you some pics. I think you'll be into it. I am back from holiday and I will be doing that. Tia Buxton says, hey Ben, I hope you had a good time away with the family. We're halfway through the summer break and the small people are becoming increasingly hard work. How do you cope? Tia, I don't cope. That's my secret. Well, I'm bringing one of them to work with me tomorrow to put her to work. She owes some money to pay off her computers, so she's doing some packing and shipping, etc. at headquarters. I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky in that I get to work quite a lot of time from home, and I'm here a lot to help if required. But also Tanya is here, and you know, our youngest is 8. We're sort of on the home stretch, it feels like. I mean, we're in the period between, you know, actual daily wipe my bottom and the, I don't know, teenage hijinks. Yeah. But that's it. They've got computers, Xboxes, TV, YouTubes, Netflixes, projects, access to workshops. They've got tools. They've got 14 million Lego sets to play with. They've got guitars. They've got instruments. They've got ukuleles. They've got all of these sorts of things to do, and seem to be very good at entertaining themselves and finding projects. My daughter's gone from wanting to be a sort of live stream gamer kind of thing to realizing that she understandably has a thing for creating and making physical things, and now she's spending all of her time alone in her room, as is a teenager's want, but physically creating and making amazing things, from sewing to paperwork to painting and drawing and designing, and she's just, this is her thing and this is what she's doing now. It's incredible. So I'm really lucky. I am really lucky. Okay. Franz Truter says, so my neck runs 20mm straight through. That seems problematic. Darn. Beach neck, heat treated. I'm not sure if it will survive the string tension. It will survive the string tension, and 20mm straight throughs is fine. It's more common to have a bit of thickening as it goes up to the neck, up to the neck joint area, but you will be fine. As long as it feels comfortable to you to play, it's really not an issue. JS Trucking says, when are you bringing back What's on the Bench? With you hosting it, Sean was okay hosting, but is not as enthusiastic as you were. I am not. I'm not going to be bringing back What's on the Bench. It takes a huge amount of time to edit. It takes a huge, it takes a chunk of a day out, not a huge amount of time, but, you know, 2 or 3 hours to film. It takes time out of students' days, and it just not enough people were watching it to make it worth the sheer amount of money that we were pouring into creating it. Now, I do enjoy it. I did enjoy it for the most part. There are some weeks where it's difficult to have a conversation with people. If you know, it's a particular mode to be in, shall we say. But no, the videos that do well on the channel are videos where I'm physically making something or talking about a guitar. The What's on the Bench just never did that well. Now, on the side channel, on the extras channel that we're watching on the live stream right now, that's something else, and we will potentially be doing some student-based videos where you guys will be able to see some projects or some stuff filmed in the studio, and that's one of the things that I'm going to talk to the team about tomorrow. How can we get more footage done there? If you are on Instagram, please follow Crimson Guitars. You are going to start seeing a lot of shorts. Shorts is YouTube, Instagrams is Reels. Anyway, we're going to start filming a lot more from within the school of students doing bits and pieces. So instead of me just prattling away, talking to somebody about, oh, what did you do? Why did you do that? Oh, your router messed up. Yep. Instead of that, you're actually going to see students doing stuff. And it's going to be far better than just an interview kind of thing. So yeah, check that out. There will also be shorts on YouTube, maybe on the main channel, but certainly on the extras channel. Okay. Rune Arnson, thanks very much, says, when making a pickup, what is more significant? The total mass of metal, the copper, lots of rounds with a thin wire or fewer rounds with a thicker wire? It does depend on what you... Okay. Hush, crows. I am not particularly experienced with pickup making. It is not something I've done before. I've obviously read about it and seen people doing it. We've got our own range of pickups. You are better to talk to Sam Hook at Crimson, who will happily walk you through it, or or somebody who makes pickups. But in my opinion, neither of those things is more significant. What is significant is what sound you are after and what type of pickup you are making. If you want to have a vintage PAF, for example, humbucker, then those pickups are wound with a certain type of wire around a certain type of bobbin to a certain resistance, and the proper PAFs were unpotted and had a certain bit of microphony. And you know, you've got a nickel silver base plate, I seem to recall, and all of these different things come to make that sort of sound. If you use different thicknesses of wire and fewer turns, you might have the same resistance, but you'll have a different, I nearly said mechanical, magnetic response as to how it interacts with your strings. So yeah, it depends on what you're after more than what is more important. YouTube keep throwing up, hit these people with an advert, hit these people with an advert. Pete C says, I just finished a Telecaster style guitar for my granddaughter to take to college with her. Included a Fender Mustang micro amp so she would not bother her roommate. Lol, was very excited to get the guitar. That's incredible. There are few things better than being able to make something that somebody gets excited about. It's weird noises. It's one of the reasons why I make the videos as much as anything else. People enjoy them, people learn from them, people get excited about it, and I get an endorphin, dopamine. I get a rush out of making videos and completing a project. I think that's why I do so many and so much, more than anything else. But yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, so fan frets and multi-string instruments that from Fluid Focus are way more accepted now than even 10 years ago. Absolutely, and that's something that is going to stick, I think, to a certain extent. Matt Hanley says, hey Ben, do you know when the earliest availability you have for the 6-day building course? Within weeks. Phone Ricky up tomorrow. I haven't mentioned yet, I probably should have, everything's on sale, both at vintagetoolshop.com and crimsonguitars.com. Everything's on sale, so including, I think, everything but the 3-month course. So check us out. There are also a few new courses on there, including one on pickup winding. Hey. But no, I know for sure that we have openings on every single course. The world's in a little bit of a crisis, if you hadn't noticed, and we are not at capacity, and I don't expect to be at capacity for a couple of years, to be honest. So yeah, if you're interested in a course, now is the time to buy one while it's on discount. But yeah, if you need to come, hell, we could probably fit you in tomorrow if you wanted to, if there is a 6-day course running this week. And yeah, Matt, I look forward to meeting you, because I will be there. Second note says, anyone here in the UK that's been in workshops in this heat with no air conditioning, I'm with you, and I celebrate with you that the heat ends today. Yes, today is the last day of 30 plus degree heat. Tomorrow it breaks and we're back down. So there we go. Zeph Neeson says, I've watched loads of your vids, thank you very much, and I've been very grateful for the fretwork videos where I struggled the most. Very much got me through to a good standard. Always learning. Many thanks. It's an absolute pleasure. Borgonian Evolution says, maybe have the students do their own intros, mid-build updates and end product on their own. To a certain extent, again, I don't like taking them out of their... I don't like taking their time away for our gain. But yes. Robert R says, oh, 140 watching, but only 55 likes. Come on, people. No, big unit guitars. Here we go. I knew you'd come in. It says, thicker wire with fewer turns means less resistance, which tends to result in pickups that are significantly weaker sounding. Smaller wire with more turns means higher output. Thank you very much. Britt Boyette says, any plans for another bass build? Yes, emphatically. This is one of the instruments that I picked up over the weekend. It's a relatively short scale Burns Sonic. Yeah, Burns of London Sonic model. And I absolutely love this thing. Flat wound strings, cool pickups mounted above. There's no route. It's a thin body and the pickups are on top of the instrument. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really getting into basses at the moment, and it's got a super cool aged cracked nitro finish. This is early 60s, this one. Somebody's added this, but they did that really early on. So yeah, I love it. Love it very much. Now this, it's very difficult. You know, I have had an issue with watch collecting. I think I'm almost over it. It's very difficult to try and barter somebody down a few £100 or 50 quid or whatever. You know, you've got to try, don't you? It's very hard to do that when they've noticed that you're wearing a watch that on the second-hand market is worth £20,000. I bought it retail, which is nowhere near that. Yeah. I didn't get a discount, but I love the instrument nonetheless. Okay. When will we see you putting binding on electric? That's from Paul Needs. I haven't done that on the channel in a long, long time, if ever. No, I did it in the GGBO guitar. It wasn't traditionally routed or anything, but there was multiply binding on the GGBO guitar for last year. So there we go. But I would like to do that again at some point. Okay, Frugal Fixer says, update on my ADHD meds. They make me work like a full maniac with your focus on high, lol. I'm looking forward to getting mine. That's Frugal Fixer Guitars. JS Trucking says, so does that mean no watch-inspired build then? No, I am still going to do that. I'm still inspired by them. I still love them. I still have a an insane collection of them, which I'd like to actually sell to buy some guitars, at least some of them. But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to do a watch inspired build. That is coming up soon. Okay. Franz Thurter says, have you heard about the latest Fender lawsuit for apparently price fixing? I haven't looked into it. I was told about it. There we go. I was told that something was going on. If anybody else knows, let us know or send us an interesting link so we can... I don't know. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But also, they could do a lot worse. I mean, they could be Gibson. Okay. James Duffin says that bass looks amazing. I love 60s guitars. I'm becoming a little bit of a collector as well. This is an Ibanez. Can you believe it? It's a very, very, very early Ibanez. I'm not going to keep this one. It's not got the original switches or plate on here. It doesn't have the cover or the tremolo system, etc. So for the museum thing, it's just not good enough. But yeah, it's a very, very, very cool instrument that you will see on the channel one day soon. The pickups have a dark blue mother of toilet seat over the I hadn't noticed that. But yes, I love 60s guitars as well. Abe Song says, very hot here in Paris today. Paris lately, but today a thunderstorm and now good cool air fills my apartment. Yippee. Apostrophe 65 says, can I see the back, please? I'm sorry, I don't know which instrument you're talking about now. JS Trucking asks if there's any news on my GGBO plans. They change on a daily basis. When I start the build, that is when the thing's going to solidify. I am seriously considering doing something along the lines of these 60s instruments with a nitro finish. It could be fun. Could be fun to make a Blackguard telly or something like that, maybe. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, King Bob's Guitar Works says, is there a trick to getting that trademark Gibson mahogany colour? Everything I've tried, and I assume he was about to say sucks. Yes. Crimson, cherry red, the water-based one was specifically formulated to get you that colour. So, yeah. Double check me, I'm pretty sure it's the cherry red. It is the cherry red, it must be. We've got three different reds, I think. Maybe even 4 now. Anonymous Botch. You're verging on a timeout here. Says, if you do a watch-inspired build, will you put the video on TikTok? I downloaded TikTok for about 5 minutes. We've got a Crimson. We're on there as Crimson Guitars. The very first thing I saw was boobs, and that was no, just no, thank you. Second note says, does anybody know why ever Gibson thought it was a good idea to destroy all those Firebirds on YouTube in the end? No, I think they've tried desperately to move on from that whole period of time. I'm surprised. Well, thanks for reminding me. I think that the thinking behind the thought was very limited, and it was, hey, we care so much about the quality of our product that if it doesn't meet the highest, most rigid standards, we'll destroy the guitar. Everybody who watched it thought, you utter fools. You know, the guitars might not be good, but with a little bit of time or effort, you could take the pickups out and put them in something else, or donate the guitars to a school for some kid to learn how to play, or any of these things. We are trying to be a society that frowns on waste and unnecessary destruction of stuff that could have value to somebody, and they bulldoze the things. Absolute bloody numpties. Anyway, we'll see. Marshall Levine's sorting everything out from my workshop finally 2 years after the move. What a mess. Yeah, I know the feeling. I still haven't finished this. In fact, yeah, there we go. NTO Steve says, so building a second-hand guitar live? I'm not sure I'm going to do GGBO live, but I might. I don't know, maybe. Nikki Van Drill, we're almost ready to announce invitationals. We got some cool people. We really do. Scott Davies says, if I bought some live edge maple from a local supplier, how long would it take to dry to use inside an acoustic guitar for a bridge strengthener? The pieces are so thin, would it matter? It would matter, but to be honest, if you're talking about something 3 or 4 millimeters thick, you could just hell, put it in a box with an incandescent light bulb, one that actually gives a little bit warmth, and a fan pulling through, and it'll be dry in a week, even if it's really wet. Don't microwave it, that puts too much stress on things, but even keeping it in a house in the current heat will dry something that thin very, very soon. Yeah, you should be fine. Give it a week or two and you should be okay. Tahoe Mike says, the Fender suit seems to have something to do with a minimum advertised price thing they do here that may not fly in Europe. That definitely wouldn't fly here in Europe. We're a little bit less controlled by corporations, only a little. Paul Cook says, in which the Consumers Association, as a result of Fender not appealing the case from 4 years ago, which have started a class action lawsuit for consumer compensation. Well, well. James Duffin says, wow, that Ibanez is stunning. Well, it's going to be a lot more stunning. It's going to be a lot more stunning soon. I'm going to need to do some fret work and yeah, take it apart and measure it, photograph it, put it back together again and set it up to raffle. So, well, there we go. What should I do tomorrow? That or the PRS? Let's do a poll. Woohoo, there we go. You guys vote what I'm doing on the live stream tomorrow. Either take the Custom 24 apart, look at everything, measure things, check the fret setter up a little bit, and then get that one up for a raffle competition prize draw, whatever I'm supposed to legally call it, or the same thing with the Ibanez, although that might take more than a single stream. Same thing. Okay. Zeph Neeson says, I used to have a 60s Strat I bought from Led Zepp's manager's son, who was my boss. I didn't like Strats then and sold it on. Silly boy. I was quite young. Live and learn. I have two guitars like that I actively pine after. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. Etienne Chabert says, hi Ben, from a French viewer, thanks for the quality of your work. Because of you, I start my first guitar building and I'm so excited about that. Thank you very much, and yeah, congrats on your first build. Okay. I missed what the poll's about. Who was that? That was... big unit. No, the live stream is not going to start at 11. I'm going to start it at... I'm going to start it at 2 o'clock. I will schedule that in a minute. Okay, so yeah, the question is tomorrow, do I live stream the taking apart, measuring, drawing, and overall exploring this 60s Ibanez, or do I do the same thing with a 90s PRS Custom 24? That will then be a video later in the week, or maybe early next week. That and the guitar would be put up for raffles, so somebody would end up winning it. Mark Allier says, I have 3 or 4 millimeter burly matched maple top, but it warps slightly. If I glue it to a mahogany body, will it be a problem? I thought about making it semi-hollow. What are your thoughts? No, it won't be a problem. If you can push the wood down just with the pressure of your fingers and it goes flat, then glue will have absolutely no problem. And the mahogany body is, even if the maple is pulling against it, albeit very gently, the mahogany is going to hold it absolutely in place. So yeah, it's not a problem. If you do make it semi-hollow, make sure that you've got your chambers make sure that your chambers are small enough so that there's gluing surface to hold the thin top onto. You don't want just a giant chamber on the guitar. This vote is currently sitting at 50-50. So yeah, we can't do... 51 for the Ibanez. Okay, here we go. 1 minute. I'll end the poll in 1 minute, and I will go with that for what I'm doing tomorrow. So no, when I start the live streams at 11, then I have to stop for lunch, and it's just a whole thing. I would rather do shorter 3 or 4 hour live streams and not necessarily finish the whole thing, starting later in the day. It also means I could potentially do more than one a week. E.R. Webster says, snow cones when it is 102 degrees Fahrenheit or 39 degrees C. Not a question really, more of a suggestion. An absolute bloody necessity. I'm looking forward to chilling down tomorrow though. Kiwi Quarter says, on-off switches are my favorite. I do love them. Second note says, no way, I've never seen a 60s Ibanez like that before. It looks very K's Tasco at first look and very 60s. It's an incredibly cool guitar. It is an incredibly cool guitar. And, well, here we go. So I've got the Ibanez book from, here we go, Tony Bacon. This is the book on Ibanez electric guitars. And it isn't even in it. It's close, but that's it. So yeah, not a common thing. Maybe I shouldn't raffle it off. Hold on, I think it's been 2 minutes. End poll. Okay. So yeah, Ibanez it is. Still need to decide if I'm going to raffle it off, but no, I really am. If I'm collecting guitars for a museum, then they have to be right. It has to have the original parts, like the Burns bass. That's as original as I can get it. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's staying in the collection. The Ibanez is moving on. Real KH is saying, just in for a moment to say hi. 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 Okay. Toolbox has just joined All That Jazz as a member. Thank you very much. And yeah, welcome. Okay, Ibanez it is. Donald Fisher says, Ben, the tool chests behind you are beautiful. Are they built or bought? They are bought. Hold on. No, wait. It depends on what you're talking about. These two here are, they are pattern makers' tool chests that were built by the pattern makers as part of their apprenticeship. So they built the chest and then filled it with tools while they were apprentices for 5 or 7 years, and then stayed with them for the rest of their lives. When I bought this one, it had a number 2. It wasn't a standing number 2 plane. It had all sorts of things. Number 7s. There was a number 2 Sergeant plane in that one. Maybe it was that one. Oh, anyway, this one here, that is a Neslin tool chest, and the top opens up and everything. That's commercially available and available secondhand. This here is an antique traveling dentist's tool chest, and yeah, stuff, nonsense. VintageToolshop.com currently has a sale on as well, so check that out. So 86 people voted, 51% said Ibanez, 48% went for the Custom 24. So Ibanez it is. The PRS lives on for another day. Paul Need says, I never get my way in these polls. I'll have to. Well, we'll do the PRS next week. Kiwi Quarter says, I'd buy raffle tickets for that silly old guitar. I love it. This is the thing. So Tom, who is the MD of Crimson, he runs it for me. He has his finger on the pulse, and he has wanted to set up a guitar raffle company for about a year now. I really don't like gambling because I would have a problem with it if I let myself go down that route. I absolutely, with the ADHD, the gratification, the competition, I would have a problem. I just know that. So I avoid it. Now, from a business point of view, it's a really good business. From a point of view of getting cool guitars in people's hands that have, you know, had a bit of a flutter and put a quid or two down, on the potential of winning something really nice or unique or expensive, the PRS for example, that's cool. But now also there are 2 or 3 other raffle companies. Just here's a new Fender Telecaster, you could win this. etc., or just another Gibson, or just another. I'm this close to actually doing it in a proper, daily sort of a way. But it can't be just another boring standard American tele. It has to be interesting. It has to be great. Anyway, excuse me. Okay. Jeff's Guitars asked if there were any vintage dental tools in it. Not when I bought it, I'm afraid. Barry Christian asks, is there a hand tools only build video next week? No. I've been on holiday and have not yet caught up with myself. However, there is going to be a very, very interesting standalone video, not guitar related, but Saturday's video is going to be fun. You want to check it out. And actually, that is going to be a raffle. Yeah, anyway. Luna's Luthiery says, is the crimson penetrating oil any good with Zirakote? Yes. Finally found a piece of Zirakote that is not too expensive, and I still have some oil laying around. I also bought some olive. Will it work? It absolutely will work. There is... Let me actually consider this. There's nothing in my experience that penetrating guitar finishing oil is not good with. It's specifically designed as an oil for wood, and it works really, really well. Zirakote, I've used it before on. Don't think I've actually used it on olive, because I've not used olive. But anyway, yeah, go for it. Apostrophe 65 says, why not get the parts needed to restore it? Because I don't think I would find them. Basically. I'll make the decision tomorrow. I could potentially... It's the trem cover that offends me. Could I make that trem cover? Potentially. I don't know. We'll see. Mark Milligan says, the same poll results as Brexit. I hope you guys have made a better choice this time. Second note says, surely though, one change of wording in the gambling legislation that's surely coming and the entire business model is kaput. That is a good point. That is something else that I've considered and I'm slightly worried about if I go through with it. But yeah, there is no reason to not make hay while the sun shines, as they say. I was not going to do it. I was not going to do it. I have had actual arguments with raised voices and everything, saying, no, I'm not going to do this, until I realized the story behind it and the justification and the way that it could be used to really, to build up a museum collection, and yeah, whether it's a raffle or, I mean, auctions are a different story entirely. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. Anyway, Zeph Neeson says, one of my teletype builds got raffled on one of those sites. Fetched $3,500 for a charity, which was cool. I have to stop myself buying tickets on gold top Les Pauls, lol. This is the thing. This is the thing. Every now and then is fine, but doing it every single day is a different story. Hold on, where are we? Okay, so sound problem for Lisa. Refresh yourself. We've got sound. Oh no, all good. There we go. Fantastic. Hold on. NTOT Steve says, sorry, hand tool only. When's that going to start again? I am going to be filming the next episode by the end of this week. Next episode or 2 even, and it's going to be, it is the main and prime focus. I'm doing some extra bits and pieces around just to, well, hell, I spent some of my Sunday working on this project just because I missed my workshop so bad. But anyway. Mark Milligan says, oh, Saturday's video, is that the shop you were at on your week off? No. I saw on your Instagram. If it is, you have me excited. No, 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 no. No and no. I wanted to film there, but I didn't. No, it's a project that they've been building at headquarters out of without me. It's not a guitar. It's a... screw it. Essentially, remember I built the bog oak guitar that Dave Simpson did a demo of recently on his channel. It's bog oak and gold leaf and resin river sort of thing. They have gone and built a conference table style thing out of bog oak and gold leaf and resin. And the problem is, it's a little bit too big for the space we've got for a damn table. So we're just going to raffle it off. Somebody's going to end up with a really cool table. Second note says, make hay while the sun shines indeed. Plus, all your eggs are not in that basket, so you would be safer than others in that game, I'm sure. Well, this is the thing. So my long-term goal is, I've always wanted to have a guitar shop. You know, why not do that? Hell, why not do that at the same time as I'm building a raffle thing? So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of options available, and there we go. Ape Song says you can make the hay and then hit the hay. Very good point. I need to sleep actually. Finish your book first and then the museum. That's from Frans Truter. Which book? Because today I've decided that in the next not too distant future, I've had one of you guys gave me an idea for another one that just involves me going around a lot of music shops and collections, photographing things, and publishing a book focusing on finishes and vintage guitars and what they look like and what they actually look like for people who are interested in relicking. And I want to do one on Gibsons and one on Fenders and one on, I suppose, just general vintage guitars. Barry Christian says, what is the minimum thickness for a neck for truss rod and volute? 17, I suppose. And that's not including the volute. So 22, and that'll let you carve down to 17 while having a volute. All right. Anyway, look, we are running... Yeah, we're running low on time. Everything's slowing down. If you have any questions, please let me... Well, hit me with the questions. Mark Milligan saw that bog oak table on Instagram too. Cool. I didn't realize they'd done that. It actually looks really cool. So it's not shiny. The resin is shiny, but I had them oil the wood, and yeah, it looks really nice. In fact, I'm going to take my resin one, the original one, and strip the lacquer off and oil that because I like the look so much. Michelle Rajda says, why do people want scalloped frets? It removes the... Essentially your finger, even if you don't feel it, the ball of your fingertips does feel the wood to a certain extent on either side of the fret. And not having the wood there reduces friction. It forces you also to play with a much lighter touch, because we tend to press down and then push, and the fretboard essentially stops our finger. If you don't have the fretboard there, you can push too hard and go out of tune. So it forces you to play lighter, which also means that you can play faster once you're used to it. Personally, not my thing, but it is what it is. Paul Cook sent a super chat through saying Scott's £20 super chat question is in your WhatsApp. Okay. Sorry. Okay, here we go. I hope he's still watching. Okay. If I bought some... Oh! And then I saw it and answered it already. Haha! So yeah, that's the live edge maple one. I answered that. That's good. Nice. Sporadic Amnesic says, talking of hitting the hay, I've been up since 3 AM for work, both today and yesterday, and up at 4 AM rest of the week, and I am pooped. Catch you later, everybody. Sleep well, man. I nearly said sleep tight. Okay. All right. Well, I think this is a natural end to the day. Nick Jones, I'm going to do the bench build at some point, but I want to do that with the guys at Crimson, because we're going to. Well, I'm not sure about. We'll see. We'll see. For now, I'm really enjoying getting elbow deep in loads of random guitars that aren't my own. I'm really enjoying it. Everybody, have a fantastic evening and week. If I don't see you, I'm going to schedule tomorrow's live stream, which I will be doing based on this 1960s Ibanez. It's going to be fantastic. I'll see you all. I'll see you all in the morning. Maybe. No, I won't. That's because I said sleep tight. Damn it. Good night, everybody.